Hi, Maureen.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. What a wonderful day. Another great day for the Muslim House here at Sundance. And I want to thank Doris Duke for giving us the support to make this possible. So I want to start. What's the vision of Doris Duke in terms of having the Muslim House here at Sundance?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for having us here. We're so grateful to have MPAC Hollywood Bureau as one of our major partners as we push this work forward. And our vision is to really create a space that leads to social cohesion, more understanding between U.S. Muslim and non-Muslim communities, more authenticity in the voices we hear, more agency for people to tell their own stories and for those stories to be more impactful and consequential in terms of building the cultural fabric of our nation.
But why Muslims? Because, people, there's so many different groups out there. What's the special aspect of Muslims that we need to get their stories told?
Well, what's so interesting about that is that this program, the Building Bridges program, is actually the only program that wasn't explicitly named in Doris Duke's will. We have 5 program areas: medical research, child well-being, environment, performing arts, and the Building Bridges program. This was so extraordinarily important to the board of Doris Duke that we, for the first and only time in the Foundation's history, established this new program as a response to Islamophobia after 9/11. And so we became very focused on this very clear need to provide more insight and build understanding. We cannot be a strong society and a just society if that is absent. And we think, in fact, that there are a lot of important lessons to be learned from this work that really can extend to other parts of our society as well.
You mentioned what happened after 9/11, and there was obviously a lot of scapegoating against American Muslims who had nothing to do with what happened. But they tried to blame the Muslim community, and we had partners like Doris Duke Foundation that came to our side, and really, in my opinion, that prevented another nightmare in America that was experienced after World War II, during World War II, in the Japanese-American internment.
Right.
And we see that still happening, is that maybe we're not physically interned, but we're virtually interned, that they're trying to lock us up, and people are fearful and they feel intimidated. I mean, you just had 2 people killed in Minneapolis. And so it's not just about what's happening to Muslims, but the treatment of Muslims is a form of what's happening to our society.
That's right, and that's why we think there's so much power in doing this work that can extend to other aspects of the community. Minneapolis is my former hometown. So what we see when these kinds of tragic events occur is that we need as much understanding, as much cohesion, as much community as we can get. And we also understand that we are not immune. Yes, what happened in the wake of 9/11 was directed toward U.S. Muslims, but others are subject to these sorts of discriminatory actions, these sorts of hateful attitudes, this sort of lack of compassion, understanding, generosity, and frankly love as well. And so what we think is that this is a specific and important opportunity for us at the Foundation as well as society at large.
Yeah, and there's so many other communities that are being affected.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole immigration issue is trying to expel a large Latin American population from America.
That's right.
And they've been integral to America's success. They pay their taxes. I heard a story of a man who had 5 sons who were in the Marines, and yet the U.S. government is trying to deport him. So we hear these awful stories, and what happened in terms of the history of slavery, and now the government is taking down monuments that remind us of what happened. So how can we learn from other communities in terms of what we should do as American Muslims in terms of keeping that storytelling alive so that people know the truth?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we're paying attention to is not only do we need to actively push against these stereotypes, this negative behavior, but we need to tell a new and more expansive story that helps us stop othering people who are not from our own cultures and communities, and helps us see the connective tissue and the commonalities without blunting what makes us special as different cultures. And we think there's a specific opportunity to do it now because of the work in media and entertainment that MPAC Hollywood Bureau and other Building Bridges program grantees are doing, we have the opportunity to scale, to get the word out, to tell those different stories, to provide nuance, subtlety, roundness, fullness to the U.S. Muslim experience that helps us then understand, oh, we have more in common than we do different.
The word pluralism is very important for us as Americans, yet it's kind of getting a bad rap. That now pluralism means we're pushing away white Americans. And I hate to stereotype and generalize white Americans because they're obviously, there are different camps. But, that there is definitely a movement that believes in the Great Replacement, which is a conspiracy theory that we're here to replace them and they're suffering a white genocide. So how can pluralism help alleviate the fears of many Americans about who we all are and how we need to work together in terms of coexistence? And how does Doris Duke help us tell those stories?
Well, I think one of the things is to reframe from this scarcity mentality. I think that's at the root of the fear and some of the negative behaviors we see that has people push back against the notion of pluralism. If you gain something, I then have to lose something. I think we have an obligation to reframe toward abundance. There's enough for everyone. There has been historically. We are creative and expansive in the way we live our lives, in the ways that we approach our work, and therefore my being treated with justice and dignity does not mean an automatic deficit for the other person. And so that's a lot of what this work is about, is creating that shift, that reframe that really shifts the zeitgeist.
Thank you so much, Maurine. It's great to be with you. Great to be in partnership with Doris Duke, and great to have you today and teaching us so many things.
Thank you, Salim. Thanks for being our partner.
Thank you.